Detroit Lions fans rejoice because Ben Johnson is staying around. Hello, everyone. My name is Derek, and welcome to Detroit Lions Syndicate. If you are new to the channel, we talk all things about the Detroit Lions, and sometimes we make videos twice a day, or in this case, the late night edition. You hate when news breaks when you're at work, but what can you do? About 6 hours ago, it comes out from Tom Pelissero that Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions, is deciding to stick around. This information comes from Tom Pelissero's Twitter. Lions OC Ben Johnson informed interested teams he's staying in Detroit per sources. Johnson was slated to travel Wednesday to interview with the Panthers, but he feels Detroit is building something special and wants to see it through. Should be a hot head coaching name again next year. And that is fantastic. That is what I was hoping that would happen. Now, there is a possibility that he kind of knew he wasn't going to get the job because the Carolina Panthers also interviewed Sean Payton as well. And I think the NFL world, especially those teams that need a head coach, they're kind of waiting until they see where Sean Payton is going to go. So maybe that's the case, maybe not. But according to Ben Johnson, he said he wanted to see it through and that we're building something special. And I think that's fantastic because we were kind of worried what would happen to Jared Goff coming off of the fantastic second year that he had with 7 interceptions and over 28 touchdowns for his second year with the Detroit Lions? Would he regress when it came to the offense and the creativity from Ben Johnson as well? Something we did not see under Anthony Lynn, and also midseason last year, even under Dan Campbell, very stagnant offenses. And I think that that's what made him so creative. Now, 6 months ago, a year ago, this was not a big deal. Ben Johnson, a former tight end coach, this was not a big deal. I made a video on Ben Johnson and who would be calling the plays, and it was not a big deal. It was a dud. The Detroit Lions had the #1 offense for the first 4 weeks of the season. We ran into that issue. We went scoreless in New England in week 5, had our bye week, and then we came out and only scored 6 points against the Dallas Cowboys. Both resulted in losses. And after that, we were never able to get back to the #1 spot. But we stayed top 10 most of the year, and we ended the 2022 season 4th in offense. This is why it's such a big deal that Ben Johnson is staying around. I mean, this is pretty good company to be in. The Detroit Lions are sandwiched between the Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers. The interesting thing about this graphic is that the top 11 teams who scored the most points all went to the playoffs except one, the Detroit Lions. We know we missed that by half a game. In 17 games, the Detroit Lions scored a total of 453 points. They averaged 26.6 points a game. They had 2,179 rushing yards. They averaged 128.2 rushing yards per game. Passing yards, they had 4,281, which averages to 251.8 a game, for a grand total of 6,460, for an average of 380 yards per game. And as you can see, that is 15 yards more than the San Francisco 49ers and 9 yards less than the Philadelphia Eagles. So like I said, a year ago, this was not a big deal. Nobody really cared that Ben Johnson, we didn't even know who he was outside of being the former tight ends coach. I think that graphic is insane. Out of the top 11 scoring offenses in the 2022 season, the Detroit Lions were the only offense not to make it into the playoffs. So I know we hear defense win championships, and we know that defense will help you make the playoffs, but offenses are needed as well. That is an insane stat that the Detroit Lions were the only top 10 offense that did not make the NFL playoffs. We missed out by a half game, but I think the NFL had something to do with that, and that's why I told y'all, man, we coming. We already here, man. The NFL knows that. We're going to be around for quite some time. So leave it in the comments below. How do you feel that Brad Johnson is staying? I'm excited because that means that Jared Goff should have an even better year than he had in 2022 and 2023. My name is Derek. This is Detroit Lions Syndicate. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, because we are trying to get to 8K by the Super Bowl, and that would be fantastic. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself. The Lions aren't coming. They're already here.